Greetings, bike guys. Have you ever thought about racing your dual sport bike? I brought out an SWM RS 500. Listen guys, I bought a RS 500, a SWM RS 500, and after riding that bike a little bit, I found it was quite capable. So they were having a local desert race, a 100-mile desert race, and I thought, well, why don't I just jump in and race on the desert race with this 500. I'm running the bike stock. Of course, I've taken off the mirrors and some of the other bits and pieces so that I don't tear things up too bad. And we've taken this 500 out and we're running the stock 500 along with these other bikes in the Open Expert division here. And we're finding out that this bike is amazingly capable. The RS 500 has KYB suspension. That thing really worked well. These are fast fire roads at the start of the desert race. Later in the day, it trickled down to some tight single track and that sort of thing. But the best video I had was the fast sections here. But you can see this thing will carry the mail right along. And the motor's not working hard, but it pulls very hard. And we're able to carry the speed through these desert washes, and there's some road in here. And up a little bit, I'll show you when we get there. But I run that thing and checked the speedometer, and there was a point there where I was running at 75 miles an hour. That's pretty good for a stock dual sport bike with the mirrors and stuff taken off. I just put some numbers on the number boards that came on it, and we went out and went desert racing. You see how this thing will just pull right out of coming out of these turns? The thing just pulls. The motor's hardly even working. It's really quite nice to have that big motor in these situations. Now this bike is comparable to the KTM EXE 500 and the Husqvarna 500. They're dual sports, but I think this RS 500 to give them a nice run out here. That guy that went by me was one of the local pros or expert riders, and but we're able to carry the speed in the washes. It's been a really fun bike to get to know. I did change the tires. I went to a larger tire than comes on them stock. I went with a fatty on the front and a little bit of a bigger fat tire on the back, so that we could run over these rocks and things that we find out here in the desert races. We added a skid plate to the bottom of it to protect the bottom of the bike. And I did drop the gearing a little bit just so that I could pull second and third gear in these washes. Been really happy with the SWM. The quality build of the bike is really much better than people have seen in quite a while. This is a European bike. This isn't a, let me say that better. This is a European bike. They're made in Italy. It's from the original Italian Husqvarna factory, which is different than the Swedish Husqvarnas. The Swedish Husqvarnas were, I think they stopped building them around 1986 or 87, and then the Italians bought the brand Husqvarna and started building their own brand, which became quite popular in Europe and Australia. And then BMW picked up the Husqvarna brand and started building some bikes in that factory they have in Italy. But BMW decided they didn't want to be in the dirt bike business, and they sold the name Husqvarna to KTM. And KTM took the name but not the factory or any of the technology. They left it there. And the engineers and the builders of the Husqvarna bikes got together and started building the bike under an old European name, which is SWM. SWM was a very popular bike back in the 70s. It was the Italian national champion. It had a world championship in trials. There was motocross bikes, but here we are. I'm going to run this bike up to about 75 miles an hour here on this desert trail, and you can hear the motor just purring along. And we, had a lot more we could pull out of that thing if we needed to. I wasn't capable of going any faster in this area, so I'm just running it out here. Anyway, SWM is a very interesting bike. If you go back and you look at the bikes built from, I think, 2008 forward, those are the Husqvarnas, and it says the same motor, same frame with lots of other upgrades. Here's a quick pit stop just at an alternate gas. Some of the bikes can't do the full length of each loop, and I was afraid of running out, so I just stopped and got some quick fuel here.
Just give a squeeze.
To carry on.
Good. You're good. You're good. Uh-oh. Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks, guys.
What kind of bike is this?
SWM. Made in Italy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Go get 'em.
Thanks, guys.
It's a little bit of a dusty run out here. It's been dry, and you can see that, but you can see how the bike will just perform along very well. I enjoyed being able to take this bike out and see what it could do. It's a little bit different when you're just trail riding all the time, and you actually get out and get in a race and see how things go. And then you really get to find out the characteristics. But if you watch here, you can see how stable the front of the bike is. The bars are not moving around much. The suspension's sucking up all the little bumps and ruts and rocks and things. That KYB suspension works amazingly well straight out of the box. I think this fellow here we were following, he ends up swapping, almost blows it. And yet that SWM would run right through that same area. And it wasn't swapping around, it was nice and smooth. And you kind of get the idea here of how this course is going. The first section of it was lots of this fast stuff, and then later in the day they took us up into those mountains you can see in the distance, and we got into some nice single track up there which we were able to ride through. I had a good day on the bike. Found out a lot about it by just getting out and performing hard. I think the bike had like 200, maybe 240 miles on it when I started this race, and it's a 100-mile race, so we didn't have that many miles on it to start with. I wanted to see how it would perform in the stock condition. Now, I haven't done any racing for a few years, so I wasn't willing to go out and ride over my head or push it too hard. There's the guy that swapped there. He almost went down on that one. And in the end, we ended up doing very well. I did end up breaking the rear fender on the bike, which you'll see at the end. And that was just rider error. I went up a hill and shifted the thing into neutral instead of to the next gear and looped the bike going up a steep hill. But that was pilot error. Nothing wrong with the bike. That was just me being a little out of practice. We had a lot of this nice stuff that we got to run through that day too. I like the changes in terrain. Well, thanks for watching. If you have some questions about the SWM, leave some comments below and I'll see if I can respond to them. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon.